let's go in. Right now we just need to push. Hi everyone, Yacca here. So I have a bunch of people coming in and providing comments on the videos. Thank you so much for that. Just to highlight you guys over the course of some of the videos that I've had. Lemuel Bach, we talked about a replacement for a card in one of the decks. That's always good. Hit me up for that, and then we can have a short discussion on what can you possibly do with maybe the collection that you have. So Wabi is also one that commented that he likes the video, so he would love to get a little bit more gameplay. I will be shifting that up, so there will be videos on that as well. John MacArthur, he mentioned something about the mulligans, that it was good to get these explanations, and I always try to do something about that. And Travi and Jill, long-time supporter of the channel, likes the videos as well. Thank you so much, all of you guys. For this one, we'll be talking about the Frost Death Knight. It is a very good deck at the moment. Up until Legend, it has a really good win rate. But up until when you do get into Legend and up towards the higher ends of Legend, it drops off quite a bit and is more like a 50% matchup deck. But when you're trying to hit Legend, this could actually be fine. But it takes a bit of practice. It is an aggressive deck, but it actually requires quite a substantial amount of understanding in the mulligan, and we'll be trying to cover that once we go over the deck that I'm currently using. So let's head on into that. And as always, I'll leave a deck code in the description for you to catch. For the deck, the win condition. It is a burst deck, so what you want to do is do a little bit of chip damage with some of your minions over the course of the game. And then towards the end, you drop a massive amount of spells that you copied, that you discovered, and then all of that go face. And then out of that you win. So that's the gameplay. So that seems really easy. But for this one, and there's a couple of different lists out there. But the really interesting thing in regards to this one is the mulligan strategy. And this is where you can really edge out a little bit more wins if you manage to get the mulligan right. And as opposed to some of the other classes or some of the other decks that we have, this is really dependent on your mulligan strategy per class. So generally, there's some general mulligan tips. Let's start there and then we'll head into the class one. And it is the same win condition for all of it, so we covered that. Generally what you want to be doing is there's 5 cards that you are happy to see in the starting hand, which is going to be Bone Breaker, it's going to be Vicious Slither Spear, it's going to be Death Chiller, it's number 3, Harbinger of Winter, and Thessarian. Those are the ones that you would really like to see in your starting hand. I would say if you don't have any other like 1 or 2 drops, don't worry about Thessarian, throw him back and see if you can find some early game. So that's the general one, those 5 cards. And then if we look at the matchup for Demon Hunter, that's really an interesting one, because it actively hurts you to play minions, because they have the Sinful Brand in the spell DH. So when you look at this, you actually do not, against Demon Hunter 1, be keeping Vicious Slither Spear. It has a lot of health, so it's not really what you want to be doing. And that goes also for Death Chiller. That also has a lot of health, and you won't get the benefit out of also pinging a minion together with face. So this one is not really doing you any favors. Opposed to those two, which is now dropped a significant amount on the mulligan win rate, then actually the one you want to be keeping is the Glacial Advance, because that allows you to do a massive amount of burst. That's what you, and a discount on the next spells. So that's one you actually want to be searching for actively. That goes up quite a bit on the win rate. And then, except for those two that I mentioned, you want to be keeping some of the others ones as well, like the Bone Breaker. To a certain extent, the Thessarian is also a challenge with the amount of health that he has. So he kind of goes in the same pool. He can be kept, but I would opt into to get some of the other stuff as well, like I mentioned. Then for Mage, on top of the ones that we have already mentioned, Overseer Frigidara is going up by quite the margin. And especially if you are going first, actually. And the reason for that, how to explain it, is that if it's either a big spell mage or if it is an aggro mage, on turn 6 there's Deathborn, and this deals with, on an aggro mage, deals with that board quite well. And this is also a sturdy minion that doesn't really is impacted too much out of Deathborn, for instance. And also against a big spell mage, where you have Barbaric Sorceress, which takes the mana cost of one of your spells. So what you want to be doing there is that you cast all of your low cost spells initially, and then you redraw with Overseer Frigidara, allowing you to get some of the spells that you have in the deck. So that's a refill possibility for you if you use that against big spell mage. Against Paladin, you want to be dropping Thessarian. That goes down quite a bit, so you don't want to actively be searching for Thessarian. On the other side, Horn, because you need to really match the early turns from the Paladins that is there right now. The Horn of Winter really goes up quite a margin. And if you can even manipulate the board together with Horn and Winter, Death Chiller, that's really a good start for you against the Paladin. Yes, so that's Paladin. For Priest, the things that are really at the very, very top is School Teacher and Overseer Frigidara, because you, against the priest decks that you have available, that is available at the moment, you really want to be building up your massive burst, and that's drawing the spells. 4 health is kind of bad for priest. Still, they can manage, but it's kind of an awkward break point for priest. So those two actually goes up quite a bit. They're at the very top at the kept mulligan win rate. So that's definitely something to go for. Against Rogue, Death Chiller is not going to do a lot, so that goes down quite a bit. So against Rogue, out with Death Chiller, you don't want to be actually keeping that one, but having a massive amount of burst, more spells, actually pushes you up the Lady Death Whisper quite a bit. It's at the very, very top. So if you know you're against a rogue, of course there's like Burger Rogue, you have Maestro Rogue, where you can actually not see that it's a rogue that you're up against. Fair enough. But if you are up against a rogue actively, you can see, maybe consider keeping Lady Death Whisper in order to get a lot of spells copied on your hand. Shaman. Right now it is Evolve Shaman, and the 2 cards that goes up quite significantly are actually Frostworm's Fury, because you want to be delaying. They're going to be building a massive board. They will have like 12 dragons, death wings, all this kind of stuff. So the more freeze that you can get is better against the Shaman matchup. So this means that Frostworm's Fury is at the very, very top, together with my Menethil, which allows you to freeze up to 3 minions. So those 2 cards 2 cards actually goes up quite a bit, and you also want to be keeping the stuff that I already mentioned. Those are not bad ones. You still want to be keeping Bone Breaker, Vicious Slither Spear to do a little bit of early damage, Death Chiller. All this is still fine, but those 2 are, again, not something that you want to be throwing back if you have it in your starting hand. It's an expensive card, but it's really one of the win conditions against the Shaman. And finally, the last class which has a special win condition is Warlock. And that's only 1 card that you need to consider, which is Overseer Frigidara. And that goes into the line of thinking that they will be developing boards and you need to draw your burn. So when you are able to clear the boards, it's also a really sturdy health line for Overseer Frigidara. You can clear off imps and you draw your burn spells. But that is very high on the kept mulligan win rate for Warlock, against Warlock. So you can see there's a bunch of different strategies, and be careful about using the burn to clear off boards. That's a mistake that I see a lot. I opted in. A lot of lists do not use Vicious Slither Spear, but I think it's really good in the matchups where you do have a board to fight for. Then this one is really, really good. A good aggressive minion to start up with. A replacement for that, which is in most decks at the moment, is that you replace Vicious Slither Spear with... I'll just find it for you guys. Chill Fallen Baron. Because that allows you to draw through your deck a little bit faster. But it's not that aggressive of a minion, and that's why I opted in to keep Vicious Slither Spear. But you can try that out if you want to experiment with some substitutions. And I know that most lists right now for Frost DK has the Chill Fallen Baron. Alright, let's keep it to that. Mulligan strategy is so important for Frost Death Knight. And then it's an aggressive deck, it's a burn deck, and that's the way that you're supposed to play it. Okay, let's leave it at that and let's have a look at some of the gameplay.
I'm acting on instinct. You will know endless torment.
Okay. These are just the usual suspects I want in the mulligan, which are none of these. Got a couple. Bonebreaker and Harbinger. Horn. All very nice. Let's just wait and see if I need to clear a minion.
Caught this one eating party snacks.
Yes, I will need to do that. Okay, so that's probably Spitter. Then Howling Blast is going to be really good on the next turn. Let's clear that one. This does line up a little bit poorly into Bloodseeker, but so be it.
Here, girl. I smell an ambush.
Okay, so he's got one of the either the rush minion or Hydrolodon in his hand.
Will the vision not guide me?
Let's just clear that one as well, right?
I'll make sure you suffer.
And those go face. So right now I have 7 out of my hand. 7, 9. So it's not enough for lethal just yet. Okay. Then I probably need to invest Howling Blast. Could go in here.
My certainty is gone.
It'll take another 2 turns, right? What can he do on 4? Maybe nothing too crazy, but he could do another Wild Spirits or something like that. I do believe I have to go in. Glacial Advance. Then this one to push even more face. So I'm within reach. He has got no healing and pushed for a lot. So he will maybe push out the rush minion. Okay, that's a good sign for me, but he might get Wild Spirits. Again, I think that's the worst one for me. With taunts and stuff. The taunt is not coming out just yet, but he might get the rush minion as well. Could also be...
I spy with my little eye.
Oh, that's fine. I just need to push a bit of damage now. This could be the best option to do that.
Anybody?
Icy Touch. Freeze him again. That's the way to go. I'm not sure if this one goes off as well. Don't think so. It needs to be a spell. But I do freeze him, which is important. And then he can do a trade, but then it's lethal. A rush as well. Then I'm 1 off. And that I should be able to find at least at some point. There we go.
The Lich King versus Uther. I will fight with honor.
You could not stop me then.
Harbinger is good.
Stop me now.
The others go back. I guess Frost Strike can do something, but not really. I would really like a Bone Breaker, like a lot. Or Vicious Slither Spear. Those two are amazing cards.
I see you brought gas.
Oh, then it's probably Rogue.
Job's done.
We'll see. I need to focus on the burst. So if it is Rogue and he gets down the null, then I can Frost Strike it. Pardon me.
What'll wet your whistle?
Alright, so it's control. I'll still Frost Strike it. Well, I expect that I need to do this first. I can do a trade and see what we get. On a winter. It's gonna be something for later. Another Frigidara. Howling Blast. Yeah, exactly. Thinking the same thing here. I need burst, but then again, you can get that through both means.
What little time.
I'll do something, but I need to punch through it. I think this is just a bit of damage that can go through.
A good explorer comes prepared.
So if you get an amazing school teacher, I want all of this stuff to go face, but let's see what we get here. Icy touch. I don't want to attack it, so it's... But let's freeze it.
Pick me!
If he does nothing, then I can Howling Blast it on the next turn. And deal a little bit more damage. Turn 4 could be Cariel Roam, the Rush minion. It's another Rush. That lines up quite well into Howling Blast. Yeah, and then it's just gonna be hero power. I want to keep that until I filled up my hand with stuff. There's a lot of healing. I think it could be, depending on how many dragons we get.
Wet your whistle.
But this could be Kipler's Dragon Paladin. And it needs to be this one. I could also do the other. That's more damage for now. I really would like that for the burst. So let's go in. And I'm using this one. Oh. Could actually push a little bit more damage here. I think that's worthwhile. Thessarian is not good against Paladin. So I'm just gonna go for the spells. Ooh, is it the board clear? Might be what he's fishing for. So he's got Cariel the next turn, so I have to think about doing as much damage as I possibly can on this turn. So this will be 5. This will be 8, 9. Ten, 11. Oh, that's really close. Is there gonna be more? No, right? Unless it's exactly no.
My rule is eternal.
Let's go in. Right now, we just need to push, 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 push. Because then he goes up to 9. Takes a point of damage there. Oh. Why did I expect that he had Cariel? He can't do the hero card this turn. So I think he's out of it. He can maybe heal up 12, but I have that not showing, but from hand. If he drops a dragon that heals, is it 8? I think. But I still think this is the right move to go in with as much as possible here. And we are there. He does not want to do that anymore. Boom!